On the evening of May 23, 2014, the serene coastal community of Isla Vista, California, was torn apart by an act of violence so devastating that it left an indelible mark on the lives of everyone affected. A quiet college town, known for its proximity to the University of California, Santa Barbara, UCSB, and its vibrant student life, became the backdrop for a horrifying killing spree. Over the course of several hours, 6 innocent lives were brutally taken, 14 people were injured, and countless others were left grappling with trauma and grief. The events of that night began in a chillingly premeditated manner, evolving into a chaotic series of attacks that included stabbings, shootings, and a vehicular rampage. Behind the violence was 22-year-old Elliot Rodger, a man whose deep-seated mental health struggles, social isolation, and growing resentment culminated in an act of unimaginable cruelty. His actions were not random. They were meticulously planned and documented in a manifesto and videos he left behind, offering a disturbing glimpse into his troubled psyche. The Isla Vista tragedy not only shattered a community, but also sparked critical conversations on issues such as mental health, misogyny, gun control, and the influence of online hate communities. Elliot Rodger was a young man who had long battled feelings of social alienation, inadequacy, and rejection. Despite growing up in a privileged environment as the son of a Hollywood filmmaker, Rodger struggled to form meaningful connections with others. His frustrations grew over time, turning into a toxic mix of envy, hatred, and a deep sense of entitlement. In the months leading up to the massacre, Rodger began to articulate his grievances in disturbing ways. He wrote a 141-page manifesto titled My Twisted World, in which he detailed his perceived injustices and outlined his plans for revenge against society. His writings revealed a fixation on his perceived lack of success with women and a profound resentment toward those he considered more socially and romantically successful. Rodger also posted a series of videos online, presenting himself as a victim of an unfair world and vowing to punish those he believed had wronged him. These videos, along with his manifesto, painted a picture of a man consumed by anger, disconnection, and violent fantasies. Vista Massacre began shortly after 9 p.m. on May 23, 2014, and unfolded in several horrifying phases. Rodger's actions were methodical, calculated, and driven by the hatred he had long harbored. The first phase of Rodger's attack took place inside his apartment, where he brutally stabbed his 3 roommates to death. Chung Yuan Hong, George Chen, and Wei Han Wang were victims of this initial act of violence. The sheer brutality of the stabbings set the tone for the carnage that would follow. With his roommates dead, Rodger left the apartment and set out into the night, armed with a car packed full of weapons, ammunition, and a twisted resolve to continue his rampage. Rodger's next target was the Alpha Phi sorority house, located in the heart of Isla Vista. He attempted to gain entry, but when his efforts were unsuccessful, he began shooting outside the house. In this attack, he killed 2 UCSB students, Catherine Cooper and Veronica Weiss, and injured another young woman. This attack was particularly harrowing, as Rodger had explicitly expressed anger toward women in his manifesto. He viewed them as the root cause of his perceived failures and targeted the sorority house as a symbol of his resentment. After the sorority house shooting, Rodger drove through the streets of Isla Vista, firing randomly at pedestrians and cyclists. He also stopped at a local deli, where he shot and killed 20-year-old Christopher Michaels Martinez. Rodger's rampage continued as he used his car as a weapon, deliberately running down people in his path. Over the course of his assault, he injured 14 individuals, either by gunfire or by vehicular assault, before the chaos finally came to an end. Rodger's manifesto provides a chilling insight into his mindset and motivations. It is a deeply troubling document that combines personal anecdotes, expressions of anger, and meticulously detailed plans for his attack. In the manifesto, Rodger portrays himself as a victim of a world that failed to recognize his value. He blames women for rejecting him, men for outshining him, and society at large for his perceived loneliness and inadequacy. The document also includes detailed descriptions of how he planned to carry out his attack. Rodger's writings and videos offer a disturbing glimpse into the psyche of someone who felt disconnected from society and harbored violent ideologies. As Roger's rampage unfolded, law enforcement quickly mobilized in response to the emergency. A high-speed chase ensued as officers pursued Roger through the streets of Isla Vista. The pursuit came to an end when Roger's car crashed into a parked vehicle. When officers approached, they found Roger dead inside the car from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In his vehicle, police recovered 3 semi-automatic handguns and over 400 rounds of ammunition, underscoring the scale of his intentions. The Isla Vista massacre left the UCSB community in shock and mourning. Memorials were held to honor the victims, and thousands of people gathered to pay tribute to the lives lost. The tragedy brought the community together in grief, but it also raised pressing questions about how such an attack could have been prevented. In the days and weeks following the massacre, conversations began to emerge about the societal issues underlying the tragedy. Roger's history of mental health struggles and violent ideation highlighted significant gaps in the mental health system. The attack underscored the urgent need for better strategies to identify and support individuals at risk of harming themselves or others. Roger's manifesto revealed deeply ingrained misogynistic beliefs. His writings and actions drew attention to the toxic influence of online communities that perpetuate hatred and resentment, particularly toward women. The tragedy prompted broader discussions about the dangers of such environments and their role in fueling real-world violence. The accessibility of firearms to someone with a documented history of mental instability raised concerns about existing gun laws. Advocates called for stricter measures, such as enhanced background checks, to prevent similar incidents in the future. Tragedy serves as a somber reminder of the devastating consequences of untreated mental health issues and unchecked societal hate. For the families of the victims, the survivors, and the Isla Vista community, the pain of that night remains. However, their resilience and determination to address the underlying issues offer hope for a safer future. Through efforts to improve mental health care, combat misogyny, and reform gun laws, the legacy of Isla Vista is one of reflection, action, and a commitment to change. While the events of May 23, 2014 cannot be undone, the lessons learned continue to shape the path forward.